Welcome to C-Suite Sherpas, where we shine a spotlight on business experts and resources that you should know. I'm your host, Ron Partridge, and I'm excited today to have Nadine Green, founder of the C-Suite Group. Welcome, Nadine.
Happy to be here.
All right. So the C-Suite Group specializes in freeing business owners and founders from daily operations. This allows them to direct their energy towards strategy, innovation, and growth. And we all know those are the most important things that an executive can be focused on. So with that, we're going to dive into that with Nadine. So I'm thrilled to have you today. You ready to jump in?
Already.
All right. Can you give us a snapshot of what your business is and the major outcomes you get for your clients?
Sure. So the C-Suite Group specializes, as you said, to unburden business owners from their day-to-day operations. We provide fractional chief operating officer services, primarily for small business owners, typically between $1 and $10 million in revenue. Our sweet spot is really the $2.5 million in revenue. What a business owner can expect when we engage with them is business planning, strategy, and tactics. They should be getting some organizational process development. We look at key performance metrics because we all know if you don't track it, it doesn't happen, and helps them give them a roadmap and a guide to really achieve their goals. And just overall, we provide strategic leadership and operational expertise without the full-time costs. We do bring an extensive network that includes finance, sales, insurance, technology professionals, because we want to really look at all aspects of the business, not just in one avenue. And I just found that this is a passion of mine, and I know some business owners get stuck, and I really just wanted to provide them a good solution without the really high level of cost and investing in a full-time COO.
Now, do you have any examples where you actually were able to really help somebody get focused and where they had a much bigger impact on the success of the company?
I sure can, and that's a great question. So I helped two women business owners, two different ones, grow and sell their businesses. So I'll give you one example, was a medical transcription company. That was the first one, where the business was about the $2 million mark. They were flat revenue, very flat organization. And what we did is we looked at different technology. We did some outsourcing of medical transcription. Now, if you know anything about the medical transcription market, it's pennies. You make pennies on the line, right? So it's a penny business. It's very hard to go into double-digit EBITDA. I was able to increase their net profits and their EBITDA, going from very single digits to very low double digits. But we were able to sell her business. We grew it probably 3 times in revenue. Then we actually sold it to one of our vendors. It was the technology vendor. And then it ended up being, they were the provider. They were the largest provider in the United States of medical transcription. So she did have a successful exit. So that's one example. I did it again a few years later with a internal communications company. And again, her revenue was just about the same, about $2 million. She was founder owner and was really doing everything. She was the super account manager. She was the billing person, really. So we put in a robust infrastructure, empowering employees to be accountable and make decisions, giving her a robust organizational structure, letting her free up her time to look at sales. The revenue did grow. We also more than tripled that business. And then we sold it actually during COVID to a global company located in the UK. And she has since retired. So that was another successful exit. So again, I feel that looking at operations and really unburdening a founder owner allows them to focus on things that are important. And we all know that if you have good processes, accountable employees, strong employees, and the business can succeed well beyond yourself, that there is more value in those types of companies than not having it.
So on the last one, you mentioned that you really delegated to the employees and put some accountability processes in place. How do you deal with, like, I've worked in family businesses, right? And I think sometimes the employees become conditioned to the boss doing everything or making all the decisions. How do you help the employees make that transition to that new way of doing business?
It's a really, really good point. I'm engaged with a company now where it is a family-owned business. It's over 50 years old. There's sister in the business, cousins in the business, and it's change and change communications and making them feel a part of something bigger than themselves. So it's something bigger than them, having them see that, right, they can be a part of this success, and in some ways making it worth their while, right? These are people that have worked alongside whomever in the family owns the business. Sometimes there's bad blood. But it's really, it comes down to the communication and making them feel empowered for some of the decisions. So I think some of the problem is the founder owner themselves and having trust in some of the other family members, or saying, well, because there's personalities involved and they know them differently than you would an employee.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes trying to get them to see that in order to make this happen, they have to empower, but it's also setting structure for the employees so they sort of know the rules and what they're accountable for and where they can make decisions and when they need to get the owner involved. But you raise such a good point. I think that is the biggest challenge to overcome, is the trust factor, in not just the employees trusting new person in the business, but the founder owner trusting their employees that it'll get done. That is the biggest obstacle to overcome, I think, in the role that I play.
Do you find that the owners are truly ready to change, or do you find that they're kind of soft going into it, but they need a lot of encouragement and coaching?
I think both. I think it depends on the owner. I mean, I've been very blessed and lucky that the CEOs that I work with are ready, and in some cases have been told by a coach that this is what they need to do to get themselves unstuck, that they need somebody else to sort of come in and look at things operationally in a different way, and they need a right hand. But I do think some are not as ready, and some you have to step a little bit more softly. I think it's in the results, right? I'm a very results driven person, and I understand that in order to gain trust, they must see the results. So sometimes I just start on something very small, like what is the biggest thing burning on your desk right now? And it could be a more administrative task, but showing them that it can get done and with perseverance it will get done, I think you begin to build trust.
Yeah, okay. So what would you say sets your business apart from others that may do similar things?
So I think one of the differentiators is, I mean, there's a lot of consultants out there, and there's a lot of consultants that do what I do. I come at it from a couple of different perspectives. One, I come at it from the coach and the strategic perspective because I can think strategically, but I don't just leave them with the roadmap and the plan. I actually get inside their business and work with them on a day-to-day basis. And many times I end up managing their staff on behalf of themselves, right? Because I find a lot, right? There's a visionary and an integrator. I don't know if you're familiar with
Oh yeah.
EOS. So
Yeah.
I play the role of the integrator, and the visionary is typically maybe not a good people manager. I bring that component, and I think even part of the process, right? It's managing the people. So I think what makes me different is that perspective. I've also worked in a variety of industries. So I bring that perspective of what I did in maybe one industry that may be a little bit different, but worked. And let's look at things a little bit differently, right? It doesn't have to be industry to industry specific, but I come with a lot of different knowledge. But I think the biggest differentiator is I can be a coach and I can be a mentor, but I can also get under the hood and I work with them until it's done. And I am in their businesses. I'm not just a
Yeah.
coach, I am working alongside in their businesses.
So how do you see this field evolving over the next 5 to 10 years, and how are you staying ahead of the curve?
Yeah, so I do see this fractional space evolving over time. I mean, it has evolved, and I think it's having a very big moment now and will continue to have a moment. I don't think people are adding headcount as readily to corporations or to businesses as they did maybe a couple of years ago. So I do think that this is how businesses will get subject matter expertise at a fair value with a good return on investment. I also see that AI is playing a very large component in businesses. So I stay ahead by continuously expanding my knowledge in that space. AI-driven operations, what that means, how to implement it, when should it be implemented, what tools should we implement. I go to a lot of leadership development, a lot of things on strategic growth planning. I am an avid learner. One of the newest things that I'll probably look at for this year, I sort of delved into AI last year, and now for this year, maybe like exit planning strategy or certifications. So
Yeah.
I'm continuously really educating myself on what is needed to be able to give the best advice to the CEOs that I serve.
Great. All right, let's shake things up a little bit.
Okay.
We've heard a lot about you in the business, which is very interesting, by the way. But we'll shake it up so our viewers can get to know you a little bit more personally. So we'll have a lightning round. I'll ask you some personal questions, not too personal. So if you're good with that, we'll roll.
Let's go.
All right, coffee or tea?
T.
All right, cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
Oh, so I always say this, doing what I do and being a business owner is not for the squeamish. It's something that I say a lot. It's just not for the squeamish. And somebody had said that to me years ago, and I think it's 100% true. So I tell myself that every day as a business owner, but I tell my business owners that as well when they need sort of like a reminder, like this
Yeah.
isn't squeamish and you can't quit. I'm sorry.
Favorite movie or streaming series?
Oh, movie Gone with the Wind.
There you go.
Classic.
Classic, yeah. Favorite book?
Favorite book? Oh, I would have to say one of my favorite books is the fish book about the Seattle fish market.
Oh, okay.
They're
Yeah.
going and catching the fish. Yes, that's another one of my
Have you
favorites.
ever been there?
Then we actually watched them transfer the fish from person to person to person. So it
Yeah.
was that whole accountability and building trust. We watched them throw it across the
It
market.
it is very fun. Uh, so one last question, two-part question. One bucket item list that you've already accomplished and one bucket item list that you have not accomplished.
So bucket item list that already accomplished was a trip to Alaska.
Hmm.
One bucket item list that I have not accomplished is going to the Kentucky Derby.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and sip nice drinks. Yes.
All right. So the most important question of all, if our viewers would like to get a hold of you and get in touch with you to collaborate, what's the best way to do that?
The best way is through email, Nadine, Nadine, at the C-suite, SUITE group.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Nadine Green.
Awesome. Nadine, thank you for your time today. Thanks for the discussion. It was very interesting and enjoyed the time. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.